So today's guest began her interior design career in sophisticated and demanding Silicon Valley. She's fascinated by the impact of environment and its energy on people, and she has a very keen understanding of how energy affects space, and this understanding is brought into every project to help our clients shift the energy in their environment and achieve their organizational and design goals. Please welcome all the way from Connecticut, Bridget Flynn. Hey, how are you?
Hi, Jill. I'm doing great, thank you. Thanks for having
Good.
me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that what you do, everyone needs. I feel like so many people are swimming in a sea of paperwork. Their offices are not as effective as they can be. Like, a lot of us have a lot of stuff, especially after what we've been through. Like, everybody moved from the office to home, and maybe they're still at home and not going back to the office. So, I'd love to hear more about the environment impacts the energy of people in it. Like, let's talk about what people might be going through with the energy in their home office.
Ooh, if you're lucky enough to have a home office, right?
Or if you're sitting at the dining room table like my husband was.
Oh, that is so hard. Okay. So home has a very specific purpose, right? It's supposed to be our haven, our retreat from the outside world. It's a place where we come to relax, unwind, recharge our batteries, like and have our spend time with our loved ones and have our friends over, it's really about our hearts and our socializing. And when we choose to work from home or we are forced to work from home, like we have because of COVID, it changes the dynamic in the home, changes the dynamic in your relationship as well. But it really impacts the energy of the space. So when we bring that work energy, which is usually like very focused, very masculine, very structured, stressful, like I'd like to see somebody like leaning back in their like easy chair, like with a smile on their face and typing their emails. Like it's never that way. It's very stressful to work from home. So we're bringing all of that stress in our work lives, whether we own our own businesses or we've been working in corporate, or bless the people who are doing their corporate job and their side hustle, right? So when you have to bring that work energy into your home, then the balance becomes a little bit off. And so we have to get that back out of respect for ourselves, our respect for our businesses, our families, and the space. So it's to me, it has always been critical to have, no matter whether I was growing my business from my kitchen table or whether I graduated like I am now to a full blown home office. It's got a door, it shuts, it's got two windows and a closet. Like it's a real office. So it's critical to me to have something that will create a partition in or division between the energy of home and the energy of work,
I'm
really.
so glad that you brought that up because when I worked solely from home before I had my own office space, it was like you never could escape it. Your work was always there, and it was just like this lingering of like, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And it really made it so we worked longer hours because you couldn't shut the door. Like it was just always there. And so I'm glad that you brought that up. What are some things that people can do if they're in a space, like maybe they are at their kitchen table, they're sharing this space with maybe another partner or spouse or children? What's the best way to like try to differentiate that space? Is it cleaning it up every day? What does that look like?
What you just said reminded me of its boundaries. It's like, because there's always something left to do, right? So we always have to have boundaries on it. We have to respect our boundaries. Um, and so again, it is about when you've put your business into your home life, those boundaries have to be created and then respected. And then you have to teach people to respect those boundaries. And there's two ways to look at this, right? It's like how you set up your day, set up your routine, like how you set up the space if you're like working on your kitchen table, to like having other people, because people live in that space in which you are working. It's um it's, it's so, so we have to teach people how to respect that boundary. And then also, if you have little kids, like they're needier, it's going to be a different story. So there's one of my mantras in life is that there is always a solution. No matter what, there's always a solution. So for those who just need to like learn how to create boundaries around their workspace, maybe you have older kids who kind of respect it, or maybe you live alone, you know. So if you are working from a spot in the house, I highly, highly, highly recommend making owning that spot. If you work at the kitchen table, own that spot like at the captain's seat. Okay. Make sure like you're sitting out there, you're looking out onto the room as opposed to having your back to the room. Okay, that's a bit of feng shui. You never want to have your back to opportunities or to enemies, as they say. You never know. You never know.
I think I need to go home and move my office chair.
So, but it's about owning that space, because when you own something, like your energy gets bigger, right? So it anchors into that space. It kind of fills that space. It's like, this is my chair while I'm working, this is my spot on the table while I'm working. If you have a if you have like a little secretary, like a little table pushed into the corner of the living room, own that spot. All right. So whether you're at the kitchen table, you have a little table somewhere else, a nook under the stairs, however you've created your workspace, own it, respect it, and then in its own way, like decorate it. So when I was working for my kitchen table, I actually, when I first started my business, I had my desk in my bedroom, and that was like the worst thing, because talk about boundaries. It's like, I'll take a nap. I
I'm
can,
feeling kind of tired right now. Let's just
yeah.
walk 2 feet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect, right? So, and then like when I wake up in the morning, first thing I would see is my desk. It's like, oh my God, I gotta work. So if you are working from your bedroom, I have to please find another spot if you can. I highly recommend it. So when I went from my bedroom into my kitchen table, I had this little, I sound really dorky when I say this, but like I had this little basket, and it had like a little faux plant. It had it had a few crystals that I liked, that like I was like, oh, these feel really good. And like a little picture that was like, you can do this. And so I would just set everything up, and I had my laptop and my notebook. Everything was always like set up and ready to go. So I just take the basket, I would take the laptop bag, and I would go to the table, and it's about the routine, right? The routine, the ritual of setting up. So that ritual helps your brain to transfer from, this was my eating space, and now it is my working space. So having that little ritual is really, really helpful to transition.
I'm so glad that you brought that up because I think it's so important that we create that energy of like, okay, now we're shifting from eating in this space to working and really getting our minds going of, there's some huge creativity things that can come from that ritual or that routine that you're doing every single day.
Yes. Um, to me, I'm a creative. And so, like I've done that test where it's like, are you left brain or are you right brain? Whichever one is like the creative person type, I actually am. But I do a ton of, because I'm an organizer too. And as a decorator, you're basically project managed. It's all project management. Like I have a lot of logic and a lot of systems. And I have found that my creative side is like, I want a little bit of chaos. I don't want order. I don't want to be told what to do. It's so dramatic. It's like a 16-year-old girl. But I have found that I am not creative, and I do not thrive when there is lack of order. I thrive in order. I thrive in, because there's stability and security. And so that's when that's when my creativity feels like it's best to go. And as entrepreneurs, we need that balance of, you're the CEO, you are the visionary. You are the visionary of your business. It's up to you to hold it, and to be the guiding force. And when you are not inspired, or when you don't feel unsafe, or you feel burdened, like your creativity goes, or you're just in survival mode, right? And your creativity goes kaput. So to give yourself these little rituals creates a sense, it helps you to transition, then it creates a sense of security and safety within you. And it's like, all right, now we can go be creative.
Well, and I think too that that's something that might get lost because as we're creating these rituals and these routines, that also helps us express our brand and our business goals and our values. What do you think are some good ways to help us create that within our office space, whether we have a cubicle in the office, whether we're at home, wherever we might be? What's the best way to do that?
This is like one of my favorite things to do is to help entrepreneurs, is to decorate the offices of entrepreneurs. Whether you're like, I've got $1,000 budget or $100,000 budget, I love it all. So the best thing you could do is I want you to bring in representations of your brand. So it's your brand colors, it's your logo. I have a client who is, I adore her so much. She is a relationship coach. She's like a love and dating coach. And so what we did for her was we brought her brand colors into the office. We painted her back wall behind her. We did it in pink. And then I took her logo, which is an XO, and then blew it up to like a 4 foot by 6 foot picture because she has like 12-foot ceilings. So
Wow.
and we put that behind her. And then she's contemporary with a little bit of tradition in her, you know? So we just pulled in elements all around the office. Like we did her shutters. She has like a floor to ceiling window casing millwork. We did it all in black because black is one of her colors. The walls were white, you know? And so it was dramatic, it was bold, but it was still feminine and strong. It really, really represented her. And we softened it by bringing in a sheepskin rug. And then I had the desk, because her space was very narrow, I had to have the desk custom made. So we did a contemporary desk. We did like a traditional look but with contemporary lines, like thicker. And then because I love this, because she's a love coach, I had the word love inset into the desk in black high gloss acrylic. It was, yeah, it's killer. It's my favorite piece that I've ever like custom designed to date. And she adores it. And so to have that sort of a grounding, your brand grounded in your home office in such a way really elevates your it elevates your desire to work, your productivity levels, but also like your engagement. It shows you're like, actually, yeah, I am the CEO. Like to me, there is no disconnect between our inner selves and our environments, right? So if you want to change the inside, you can change the outside first, and as the inside grows and grows, the outside will then become impacted a little differently, and you tweak it and you'll change it, so to get back to it, I always advise to bring in your brand colors, bring in your brand representation. If you like, and then if you do products, like blow up products of your service, of your pictures of your products, and get them professionally framed or target framed and hang them around so that you can see them. Like these are all things that pictures of you with celebrities in your industry, like all of these things that affirm to you that you are successful, that you're in this for a reason, that is so very powerful.
I bet that is so encouraging to her, and like supports, like when she steps into that office, she's probably like, I am here to work. I am here for world domination. Like, let's do this. Like, that must be so exciting to step into that office space and be like, this is for me. Like, you've created something that's specific to her, that is empowering to her.
Yeah. Yes. She loves it. I love it so much. I like entrepreneurs are my people, and I tend to serve on the whole 80% entrepreneurs, and most of them are women. And I just it gives me such fulfillment to help fellow entrepreneurs to succeed, and like, it's whatever it is, and they're always, they're minded towards growth, towards personal development, and so we just speak the same language, and I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because one thing that I always ask my guests is, what is one piece of advice that you would give to a small business owner?
Okay. This is my favorite piece of advice, and it's the one that I wish I had heard and taken when I was first starting out. It is, it doesn't matter where you start, just start today. Just start today with something.
I love
It
it.
doesn't have to be your be all end all, like your last vision thing. My A client and a friend of mine, I've been telling her for months, like I'm seeing this for you. She's in South Lake Tahoe. It's like, you need to start a dog walking, like owners and the dogs like walk the trails in South Lake Tahoe. It's huge and you can do it year round. She sat on it, and then she got laid off. right, from her job. And so she has like 3 to 4 months of like compensation. And I was like, are you going to do it now? And so she's like, yes, I'm going to do it now. This was yesterday. And then I get a text from her. She's made a flyer, she's made a website, and she's made an Instagram account in 3 hours.
I love it.
Like she just started. Finally, she just started. So
That just
yeah,
shows you like it's very easy to like procrastinate and be like, "Oh, I'm going to do that later." But as soon as things get uncomfortable, you're like, "Okay, I can accomplish a whole heck of lot of stuff in a short amount of time." That's
yeah.
exciting.
The time is always now. I don't
Right.
care what you say. The time is always now. Take a step.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, and I know that you have a course that you actually launched it before, but let's talk about that because there's some pretty exciting stuff that's going on in your world.
Thank you. Okay, so y'all know that I am about the energy of home because I'm an intuitive. I'm also very sensitive to space and energy, and I have those sorts of gifts. And so I love home and I love intuition. And so I've combined them to create this course called The Queen's Home. It's an 8-week guide to decluttering your palace and unblocking your intuition because I have witnessed it over decades that clutter creates blocks to intuition, and we attach certain things to our clutter. We attach certain emotions, certain things that happen in our lives to that clutter. There's always a reason why. There's always something behind the clutter. Like the clutter speaks to me, and so I help people to clear out their clutter throughout their home. And in doing so, we ask deeper questions and we unblock our intuition. And so I can tell you like how your intuition is talking to you. And this is a self-guided course. It's an online course. Yeah.
That is amazing because I mean, you've met small business owners, me too. Their clutter is saying something, but I don't think it's what they want it to say. They're like, don't open that closet. Things are going to fly out of there. So I'm so glad that you created that because I think that there's so many people that could benefit from that because there's so many of us that whether we're working from home or from the office, there's always that space, whether it's a closet, a drawer, whatever it might be. Maybe it's your whole desktop that really needs to be unblocked.
Mhm.
And there's so much more that can come from that. I mean, you probably have worked with so many people that that's happened to, right?
Yes, clarity comes from organization. Decluttering an organization every single time. One of the things I tell people all the time is like, if you want clarity on something, go clean out the junk drawer. Just go do it. It'll take you 5 minutes, and then whatever it is that you were trying to like understand can usually pops into place.
Mhm.
There's something about it. It gives you control over your life, especially when things feel really out of control. Just the ability to go and like declutter something helps you and put it all back in a nice neat way. You're making micro decisions when you're decluttering. You're choosing to release certain items, and maybe you had emotional attachments to those certain items. So like, I'm letting go of that, and I'm letting go of that emotional attachment, and you're like, oh, I'm free, I'm clear, I have more clarity. Like there's so much involved, not involved, there's so many layers, so many beautiful layers to the process of decluttering. It's like, it's more than just like, throwing out your old clothes and getting new ones, which is always really fun. But there's a lot more to it. There can be, if you want there to be. There can be a lot more to it.
That's so neat. And I mean, I think it's amazing that even those small steps, which you cover in the course, is like you're going to walk people through that they don't need to feel overwhelmed by any of that. It's okay to start small. So where can people find out more about the course? I know that you've got certain times that you launch it, but where can people find out more about it?
Mm. It is on my website, www.bridgetflynn.com.
I will put that in the show notes to make sure that everybody goes and checks it out because I really think there's so many people that could benefit from it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All different walks of life. It provides very clear, easy to follow systems for decluttering and organization. I've been doing that for 7 years, and I've been doing the intuitive work for almost 30 now.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I'm a lot older than I look.
Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to spend with me today. I'm excited for what your course is going to do, how it's going to help so many people. So we'll definitely be sure to check in. I'll make sure to link your website in our show notes so people have quick reference. But is there anywhere else on the internet that people can find you? Maybe on Instagram?
Oh, yes. Always on Instagram.
I love
Uh,
Instagram too. It's my favorite. That's why I always bring it up.
yes, I am divine organizing underscore Bridget Flynn.
Okay, perfect. I'll
Yeah,
add that in there too. Thank you
thank
so much
you.
again. I'm really excited that you were here today and to talk about this from a different perspective.
Thank you, Jill. It's an honor. It's an honor. Thank you.